So I got a super interesting question about Ramon Llull and his memory systems, and I really appreciate those questions, so keep them coming. I'm going to tell you in this video why that when it comes to memory systems, it might be the wrong question and a different question that will empower you to experience amazing memory improvement. That's coming right up. So why would I say that it's the wrong question to ask me my opinion, thank you for asking it though, about the memory systems of Ramon Llull? Well, here's the thing. Ramon Llull's memory systems are very, very interesting. It's amazing to read the memory systems of other people. Don't just read one of them, read all of them. Every single one is filled with gorgeous, amazing, immaculate gems of memory improvement that you can apply to your memory practice. So what I think about it, what my opinion is that it's amazing. It's just incredible. And of course, Llull, he was very, very influential on the election systems. He's been attributed as being a very early precursor to computational science and so forth, and I'm sure he earned all his honors and so forth. But why I think it's such a disempowering question in many ways, not necessarily that the person asking it was disempowering himself, but the thing is that it's just the system part of it is what's so potentially deadly and dangerous, because you make your own memory systems. It is the only way. It's the most important thing to understand, is that no other person can give you a system that you will replicate in your mind and then have work for you. And so it's a big marketing ploy in the memory world, and it's why I avoid the word system. Now, something like the major method, okay, it's a bit systematic. It's on the systematic end of things. But even then, I prefer to call it the major method and not the major system, because if you think about it, it is a method for creating a system. No two people on the planet use the major method or the major system exactly the same way. So I prefer the honest route. Might not be the sexiest route, but you want to find people who will teach you how to create your own memory systems based on methods and principles, and you want to find them empowering you to do so, not handing you some sort of system and then you go and try and replicate it in your mind and you find out, oh wait, this isn't working. Well, of course it's not working, because no matter what you do, no matter who you learn from, the way mnemonics works is that you create your own systems based on the methods and the principles. And it's a rare story you'll hear, and a rare one indeed, where someone picked up somebody else's approach and was able to mimic it without modification. And it's even more so when it comes to language learning. It's just absolutely essential that you understand what's going on at a methodological level so that you can create your own systematic approach. And even then, you want to be flexible in your so-called systematic approach. You know, because having a level of consistency is really great for memory competition. But as one of the Chinese parables says that I just learned recently, is that consistency isn't always good unless you're an accountant, you know? And so that's like a really great one. Because when it comes to language learning, remembering names of people and so forth, life is gonna throw you curves. You're gonna need to be able to pivot. And you can't do that if you're overly systematic. And you know, I've been with memory competitors who are very good. I've been with them in person, and they have stumbling blocks, and it's because they are not methodological. They're not flexible, and they talk very, very openly about it. I mean, if you read Alex Mullen's blog, he will talk about the sort of outer limits of his own quote-unquote system, and I have outer limits of my own system as well. I've sat in a room with Tony Buzan and Phil Chambers and like really felt my limits. I sat and competed with Dave Farrow and really felt my limits. And those limits came from not the methods, but from the system. And so how that you cultivate your own system is by understanding the methods, actually using them in real circumstances to achieve real ends and real goals, and then you have a constant feeding system which is reading about the systems of other people, reading about their approaches. 1 is the most dangerous number you will ever know, and a lot of people, they want to get to mastery with just 1. And there are legendary stories of the guy who read 1 book and went and became a world memory champion. It's great. Is it a true story? I have no reason to doubt it. But for most of us, for most people, that's not going to be the way that it works. You're going to read multiple texts. I had to read multiple texts. To this day, I'm reading a new book right now, all about using your memory, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, why didn't I think of that before, right? Well, the reason I didn't think about it before is just because I didn't read that book. And so now I'm trying it, and I'm just like, wow, that's really cool. That's a cool idea. And he's going on about blah, 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 system, but at least he has the wherewithal to say, you're gonna need to modify this for yourself. So I just say, skip the whole system talk altogether. You are creating your own system, and there is a kind of risk in getting lost and wasting time in the systems of other people, because the magic comes from understanding that it's not about anybody else's system, it's about yours, and it's about your depth of penetration and the time that you spend and invest in making yourself the best mnemonist that you can be, based on practice, based on use, based on showing up to the game of memory, to the art of memory, cultivating your skills and your talents. And I like to go to the library to remember some cards, to show up and remember some information, to learn a bit of Chinese and do some writing, just showing up. And when you show up, you get results. And so it doesn't matter what I think about anybody else's memory system. What matters is that I show up to them, I learn from them, I read them, and I observe them, and then I absorb all that into my own practice, and then I share this perhaps unsexy but absolutely important truth, which is that the only memory system that you're ever going to find worth a dime is the one you create for yourself. So if you'd like to know more about how to create your own systems based on methods and principles that empower you to get this from the beginning, instead of chasing after all those other systems and wasting time, you want to see it from the methodological and the principle side of things, then I encourage you to get my free video course. It's at magneticmemorymethod.com/YT, and it will take you through this higher level thinking, and it will give you the practical tips and strategies that you need to get going correctly, understanding that you are the one that's in control. I want to put you in the cockpit of your memory from the get-go, save you some time, so that when you go and read all the other memory books, which you should do, you should be reading, you should make it part of your life as a mnemonist, as a person who uses memory techniques, so you're constantly growing. When you go and hit those other books, you hit them with your methodological, educational principles firmly intact. And then every hour you spend in the library will be 10 times more powerful, because you've got the philosophy, the pedagogy under control. This has been Anthony Metivier. If you like this kind of content, click like, click subscribe, and head on over to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT for your free video course. I would love to help you further. And with that, I'm gonna go and make myself a little bit more magnetic than I was yesterday, and I hope that you do too. Take care and have fun. Au revoir. Love ya.